When a man likes you but hides it, his calmness can feel confusing. You might look at him and think, he seems completely unaffected. If he liked me, wouldn't he show it? But here's the truth, many men are masters of composure not because they don't care, but because they care too much . That steady, controlled demeanor you see on the outside often masks a storm of emotions underneath. He's not indifferent, he's disciplined. He's trying to manage feelings that threaten to make him feel out of control, and that effort often comes across as detachment. What most people don't realize is that attraction, especially deep attraction, can make someone feel exposed. For men who are used to protecting their emotional independence, that exposure feels dangerous. So instead of leaning in, they pull back behind a wall of normalcy. They'll keep conversations light, their tone steady, their body language composed almost like they're trying to convince themselves that this doesn't mean anything. But if you look closer, there are cracks in that armor. It's in the way his eyes linger a fraction too long when you're not looking. It's in the moment his voice softens when he says your name. It's the hesitation before he leaves a room, that small, unspoken resistance to ending the interaction. Those micro moments are where truth leaks through. He's fighting the natural pull to connect because he's not sure what it means yet, or if it's safe to act on it. This self-protective behavior isn't about manipulation. It's about control, emotional regulation born from fear. Fear of rejection, fear of misinterpretation, fear of giving too much away and realizing it was one-sided. Many men, especially the ones who value strength or pride themselves on independence, are taught early that emotions make them weak. So when they feel something real, their instinct isn't to express it, it's to contain it. And that containment is where you'll find the paradox. The quieter he becomes, the louder his feelings often are. Here's the key insight: composure is not the absence of emotion, it's the management of it. The man who hides his feelings does so not to deceive you, but to protect something sacred inside him, the part that fears being misunderstood. His stillness is his version of safety. It's how he maintains control over a situation that already feels unpredictable. You might mistake that stillness for disinterest, but it's more often a sign of restraint and effort to maintain dignity while his emotions threaten to betray him. So the question isn't is he showing it? It's what is he trying not to show? That's where the truth lies. You can tell a lot about someone by the parts they try hardest to hide. When a man acts normal, yet his eyes give away curiosity. When he says, "I don't care," yet his actions prove otherwise, that's not indifference, that's conflict, emotional tension hiding under rational control. Recognizing this difference gives you power. You stop overanalyzing surface behavior and start reading emotional subtext. You begin to see that connection is rarely loud, it's often quiet, layered, and complex. And when you can recognize genuine restraint for what it is, an attempt to manage vulnerability, you stop chasing validation and start standing in emotional confidence. Because the truth is, someone hiding their feelings isn't always playing games. Sometimes they're just scared that revealing their heart will cost them more than they're ready to give. And that's the beautiful paradox of love. The people who feel it most deeply are often the ones who hide it the best. When a man likes you but hides it, his words may stay guarded, yet his actions often start to betray what he feels. You'll notice small, almost invisible shifts, things he doesn't consciously plan. Maybe he remembers something you said in passing weeks ago. Maybe he shows up more often than he needs to, or he subtly positions himself near you in a crowded room. He may never say, "I like you," but the effort he makes to stay connected, even indirectly, begins to speak louder than any declaration could. This is the fascinating paradox of hidden attraction. He thinks he's concealing his emotions, but the very act of trying not to reveal them creates patterns of attention that do. A man's attention is rarely accidental. When he's drawn to someone, he finds reasons to orbit around them. It could be something as simple as checking in about a small detail, offering to help with something he doesn't have to, or even teasing you playfully. That's emotional camouflage. Beneath it is affection searching for a safe outlet. What's really happening here on a deeper level is psychological conflict. He wants connection but fears vulnerability. His desire pushes him forward, but his self-protection pulls him back. So instead of expressing directly, he communicates through gestures. He invests subtly in time, in small acts, in the kind of attentiveness that isn't loud but is consistent. It's his way of testing the emotional waters while keeping his ego and pride intact. Many men operate within a silent rulebook of restraint. Society conditions them to equate emotional transparency with weakness. So even when feelings start to deepen, their instinct is to stay in control, to measure how much they reveal, how fast, and to whom. But emotions, especially genuine ones, have a way of slipping through. No matter how composed he tries to be, sincerity always leaves traces. You'll see it in the micro expressions, the small flicker of warmth in his tone when he talks to you, the subtle way his energy shifts when you enter the room. Here's where emotional intelligence becomes essential, because it's easy to confuse hidden affection with mixed signals. The difference is in consistency. If he's secretly drawn to you, his actions may be understated, but they won't be erratic. They'll carry a certain stability. He won't disappear and reappear purely for attention. He'll linger quietly, creating space for connection without forcing it. His restraint isn't disinterest, it's respect. It's him saying, I feel something here, but I'm not ready to risk exposing it fully, not yet. Understanding this allows you to move out of confusion and into clarity. You stop reacting to what's not being said and start recognizing the truth that's being shown. Instead of trying to extract confessions, you begin to read the integrity in subtlety. Because sometimes the man who doesn't say much is the one who feels most deeply, and his silence isn't avoidance, it's reverence. The most powerful relationships often begin not with loud declarations, but with quiet awareness, the awareness that something unspoken is building between two people who both sense it but aren't ready to name it yet. That space of tension, hesitation, and restraint is not emptiness. It's the prelude to authenticity. So, if you sense his actions speaking even when his words don't, trust what you feel. Not every truth is shouted. Some are whispered through consistency, through care, through presence. Because in the end, when a man hides his feelings but still shows up, that's not confusion. That's courage in disguise. Sometimes, when a man likes you but doesn't want to show it, his silence becomes his loudest expression. He might not text first. He might seem distant, distracted, or even a little cold. But underneath that surface, there's often a tug-of war between emotion and control. He's trying to manage the intensity of what he feels, not because he doesn't care, but because caring terrifies him. For many men, liking someone deeply brings a fear of exposure. It's not just about rejection, it's about losing the image of control they've worked so hard to build. You can sense this inner conflict in the way he behaves. One moment, he's present, engaged, curious, maybe even flirtatious, and the next, he retreats. It's like he's pulling away to make sure he's not getting too attached. What's fascinating is that this pullback isn't about you at all. It's about the story he's telling himself. Maybe it's a past heartbreak that taught him vulnerability equals pain. Maybe it's pride. Or maybe he's simply not used to the emotional intensity you bring into his life. Whatever the reason, this pattern, this dance of approach and retreat, often reveals the depth of his feelings more than constant pursuit ever could. And here's the truth: people don't hide what they don't care about. When someone hides their feelings, it's because those feelings have power. That hesitation, that guardedness, it's not indifference, it's protection. He's trying to keep something precious from being mishandled. There's a kind of reverence in that, even if it's frustrating to witness. The very fact that he's careful means the emotion is real. So, how do you interpret that silence without misreading it? You look at what remains consistent. Does he still find reasons to be around you, even if he's not saying much? Does he notice your moods, remember your words, or subtly position himself in your orbit? Those aren't random acts. That's emotional investment leaking through restraint. He's trying to find safety in your presence before risking vulnerability, because deep down he knows that once he admits what he feels, the dynamic changes. It stops being safe. It becomes real. This is where patience and awareness come in. You can't force revelation, not from a man who's still negotiating his own emotions. But you can observe his actions without demanding clarity too soon. Emotional intelligence means giving someone space to arrive at honesty in their own time. It means seeing beyond the silence and understanding that love often begins where words end, and this applies beyond romance in every human connection. We all hide parts of ourselves until we feel safe enough to reveal them. That's the paradox of intimacy. It requires exposure, but exposure requires trust. The key is not to rush that process, but to meet it with empathy. When you stop trying to decode and start simply noticing, you begin to connect with people not through what they say, but through what their energy consistently communicates. Because at the end of the day, attraction isn't just about who says the right things. It's about who shows up when they don't have to. It's about the small, unguarded moments that reveal more truth than words ever could. So, the next time his silence leaves you wondering, remember this: love doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it hides not to deceive, but to protect something sacred. And if you can learn to hear what's not being said, you'll discover that silence, too, can be its own kind of confession. One of the most revealing signs that a man likes you, but is hiding it, lies in how protective he becomes, not necessarily in obvious, grand gestures, but in subtle, almost invisible ways. It's the small moments that tell the real story. The way he watches out for you in a group setting, how he subtly positions himself between you and discomfort, or how his energy shifts when someone else shows interest in you. These aren't coincidences, they're instincts. When a man feels something genuine, his protective nature activates not as a display of dominance, but as a quiet form of care. You see, attraction isn't just about desire. It's also about investment, emotional, psychological, even physical. When someone likes you deeply, they begin to prioritize your safety and comfort without consciously deciding to. That's the psychology of attachment at play. But here's what's interesting. When he's trying to hide his feelings, he won't make it obvious. He'll downplay his actions, pretending that his protectiveness is just being nice, or that his concern is purely casual. Yet his consistency betrays him. You'll notice he's always there when something feels off, always present when you need support, even if he never takes credit for it. This is where subtlety becomes his love language. He might not say, "I care about you," but his actions whisper it constantly. The truth is, emotional suppression doesn't erase attraction, it only redirects it. So, while his words may remain neutral, his behavior reveals what he's fighting to conceal. And often, this protectiveness surfaces in ways even he doesn't fully understand. It's instinctual. He can't help but be drawn to your well-being. Now, Let's go a little deeper because this isn't just about noticing signs. It's about understanding human psychology. When a man suppresses emotion, it's rarely because he lacks it. It's because vulnerability feels unsafe. For many men, caring deeply has historically led to pain or loss. So they build emotional armor, convincing themselves that distance equals strength. But ironically, the very act of protecting you reveals the crack in that armor. It exposes his humanity. It shows that no matter how much he tries to control his emotions, the connection is stronger than his defenses. What makes this dynamic so powerful is that it mirrors one of the deepest truths about love itself. Genuine affection doesn't always shout sometimes, it protects quietly. It doesn't need validation, it simply acts. And if you pay attention, you'll see how his body language, his tone, even his silence around you shifts. He might relax when you're at ease or tense up when you're uncomfortable. Those physiological cues, the unconscious reactions, are the language of unspoken affection. But here's where most people get it wrong. They chase verbal clarity, they want words, labels, confirmation, and in that pursuit, they often miss what's right in front of them, the quiet demonstrations of care that are far more revealing than any confession. Words can be rehearsed, actions rarely are. When you stop demanding expression and start observing intention, you begin to see love in its truest, most honest form. So, the next time you wonder whether a man likes you but hides it, don't just listen *, watch. Notice the micro moments, the way he remembers what matters to you, the way he subtly intervenes when something makes you uncomfortable, or how he notices details no one else does. That's emotional truth revealing itself through behavior, because real affection doesn't need to be announced. It shows up, it lingers, it protects, quietly but consistently, and in a world where words are often overused and actions undervalued, that kind of quiet care speaks volumes. So remember this, when he hides his feelings but can't help caring anyway, that's not weakness. That's love trying to find the courage to be seen. One of the most overlooked signs that a man likes you but is hiding it lies in how much he remembers *. When someone is emotionally invested, they unconsciously store details about you not because they're trying to impress you, but because their mind and heart are already tuned into you. It's how connection works at a psychological level. When a man likes you, even if he's holding those feelings back, his attention betrays him. He notices the way you talk about your passions, the small habits that define you, and even the subtle shifts in your mood. He might not comment on them every time, but his actions will reflect that he's paying attention. Think about it. Most of us live in a world where we're half present, scrolling, multitasking, distracted. So when someone gives you their * full attention *, that's no small thing. It's rare. And when it's coming from someone who's trying to hide his feelings, that attention becomes even more telling because it's not performative. It's not for show, it's instinctive. He remembers because he * cares *. He remembers because you've taken up space in his internal world, whether he wants to admit it or not. What's fascinating here is that emotional suppression doesn't erase memory, it heightens it. Psychologically, when someone denies their attraction, the energy of that repression often amplifies the focus. So, he might not tell you directly how he feels, but he'll recall what kind of coffee you like, or the book you said changed your life. He'll remember what song you mentioned in passing, or how you prefer to start your mornings. These small recollections aren't random, they're evidence of emotional resonance. You've left an imprint. This kind of attention goes deeper than casual interest. It's not about curiosity, it's about connection. When a man listens not just to your words, but to your emotional undercurrents, how you say things, how your tone shifts when you're passionate or when you're guarded. He's not just listening. He's feeling you, and that's when attraction moves into something more profound, something he may not even fully understand himself. But here's where it gets complicated. When he's afraid to show it, he'll often mask this attentiveness with detachment. He'll act like he forgot what you said, even when he remembers every detail. He'll play it cool, keeping a calm exterior to avoid revealing how deeply he's paying attention. That's because awareness creates vulnerability. The moment he shows he's been noticing, he's admitting even silently that you matter to him. Now, this doesn't mean you should chase validation in his memory. The key is to recognize that remembering is one of the purest signs of genuine emotion. It means that in a world constantly competing for his attention, you've stood out, you've become memorable, and that doesn't happen often or easily. The truth is, memory is love's quiet witness. It's the way affection leaves footprints in someone's mind. When he recalls small things you didn't even expect him to notice, that's not coincidence. That's care without confession. It's the mind's way of holding on to what the heart isn't ready to express. And maybe that's the most beautiful thing about unspoken attraction. It reveals itself in the spaces between words, in the effortless recall of tiny moments that meant everything to one person and felt ordinary to the other. That's what makes human connection so powerful. So if you ever find yourself wondering whether someone's feelings for you are real, pay attention not to what they say but to what they remember because memory doesn't lie. The things we hold on to tell the story of what truly moved us, even when we were too afraid to admit it. And sometimes the greatest proof of love isn't found in a declaration. It's found in the quiet consistency of someone who never forgets. One of the most revealing yet misunderstood signs that a man likes you, but is hiding it, is how inconsistent he becomes. This inconsistency isn't because he's playing games or trying to confuse you, though it might feel that way. It's because he's in conflict. His emotions are at war with his logic. He's drawn to you deeply, almost involuntarily, but at the same time, he's scared of what that attraction means for him. So, what you see on the surface is the tension of someone trying to suppress something that feels too real. This is the moment where you'll notice mixed signals. One day, he's warm, open, even a little vulnerable. The next, he's withdrawn, almost indifferent. It's confusing, isn't it? You start to question yourself, wondering if you did something wrong, if his interest disappeared, or if you imagined the connection altogether. But often, it's not about you. It's about him battling his own emotional resistance. When a man hides his feelings, that inconsistency becomes his armor. It's how he maintains a sense of control in a situation where his emotions threaten to overpower his composure. Think of it this way: attraction makes people feel exposed . And for many men, especially those who value independence or have been hurt before, vulnerability feels like a loss of control. So he compensates, pulling back when things get too close, retreating when connection starts to feel real. It's not that he doesn't want you. It's that he doesn't yet know how to handle wanting you. His push and pull isn't about manipulation, it's about fear disguised as restraint. Psychologically, this is what we call emotional dissonance. It's when someone's behavior doesn't align with how they truly feel, because expressing those feelings feels risky. He might tell himself he doesn't care that much, but his actions will betray him. The way he looks for you in a crowded room, how his energy shifts when you're near, or how his tone softens even when he's trying to sound indifferent. These contradictions are clues. They reveal the battle between emotion and ego, between connection and caution. But here's the thing: that inconsistency isn't sustainable. Over time, the truth always starts to leak through. The more he fights it, the more tension he feels, and the more obvious it becomes that there's something deeper beneath the surface. Attraction has a way of demanding acknowledgement. You can only suppress genuine connection for so long before it starts showing in the smallest gestures, in a pause before he speaks, in the way he seems to remember things he pretends not to care about, in how he mirrors your mood without even realizing it. Now, this is where most people misinterpret the situation. They take his inconsistency as rejection. They assume the hot and cold behavior means a lack of interest. But if you look closely, what it often means is confusion, the kind that comes when emotion overrides reason. And this is why patience and awareness are crucial. When you understand that his inconsistency is a reflection of inner turmoil rather than indifference, you stop taking it personally. You stop reacting and start observing. The power lies in recognizing the difference between a man who's playing with your emotions and a man who's wrestling with his own. One is manipulative, the other is human. When you can see that distinction clearly, you gain emotional clarity. You begin to understand that his inconsistency isn't your cue to chase or fix, it's your cue to stand grounded, to let him meet you where emotional honesty eventually calls him to be. Because the truth is, hidden feelings can only stay hidden for so long. Sooner or later, real love demands to be seen. And the most powerful thing you can do in the face of inconsistency isn't to question your worth, but to hold your space with quiet confidence. That calm presence becomes the mirror that reflects his own truth back to him. And maybe that's the real beauty in it, knowing that when someone's actions seem uncertain, their heart is often speaking louder than their words. You just have to know how to listen,